Spring 2095. The Himalayan snow is barely melting, but along the world's most dangerous border, an inferno is already raging. It begins with a blast, a devastating terror strike in Jammu, taking the lives of 52 innocent civilians. It is the final straw for a nation long tested. The Indian government meets in a somber, resolute council. When the Prime Minister speaks, it is not with the language of caution, but of irrevocable action. There will be no half measures. India will bring the war to the soil from which its pain has arisen. And this time, there is no turning back. In the first 3 days, Operation Vajra Shakti is unleashed. Indian Air Force squadrons fill the pre-dawn skies to the north, precision munitions streaking toward their targets. The pock-marked terrain of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir trembles under the thunder of air raids. Terror launch pads, radar bases, airfields in Skardu, Sargodha, Chaklala, all rendered silent within hours. Meanwhile, deep behind enemy lines, Indian special forces slip through shadow and snow, disabling vital supply lines, sabotaging bridges, cutting the arteries of reinforcement, and establishing clandestine firebases for the offensives yet to come. But on this battlefield, the war is waged not just with fire and steel, but with zeros and ones. India's cyber warfare divisions unleash silent chaos. Power grids in Lahore and Rawalpindi plunge into blackness. Financial transactions grind to a halt. Communications are garbled or dead. In a matter of 48 hours, Indian aircraft are unchallenged above the Himalayan skies, and Pakistan's electronic warfare grid lies in ruins, its cities isolated in digital and physical darkness. The offensive does not yet stall. By the fourth day, the northern campaign becomes a multi-theater spectacle. Strike Corps 1 and 2 pivot their armored columns to the flat, fertile heartlands of Punjab. From Fazilka and Ganganagar, they punch through border defenses with unyielding momentum. Kasur falls, and for the first time in living memory, the artillery of the Indian Army rests within range of the historic city of Lahore. Along the Barmer sector, main battle tanks spearhead a breakthrough, rolling over startled defenders to seize Rahim Yar Khan. The Sindh-Punjab supply corridor is cut like a lifeline severed. Troops and materiel fall prey to precision strikes and relentless advances. Pakistani units, battered and encircled, lay down their arms in droves. On these conquered highways, Indian tanks roll on, past lines of dazed prisoners. Generals order their officers, "No pause, no negotiations. Lahore is 2 hours away." There is no reprieve, only relentless advance, and a psychological shockwave that ripples down through the ranks of Pakistan's defenders and up to its hunkered, uncertain high command. To the south, in the brooding blue waters of the Arabian Sea, the Indian Navy moves with the practiced cohesion of giants awake. The aircraft carrier Ian's Vikramaditya leads a battle group tasked with enforcing total isolation of Pakistan's coast. Karachi, the pulsating economic heart, is sealed by a maritime blockade. Submarines fitted with cruise missiles prowl the depths, surfacing only to destroy fuel depots at Gwadar and other precious logistical nodes. Merchant vessels turn back well before the horizon. Commerce disappears, fuel lines dry, and fear sets in. Karachi stands silent, the lifeblood of trade cut off at its source. Gwadar, a symbol of a grand economic corridor, lies abandoned, choked by debris and the thick silence of defeat. The next phase brings a strategic collapse. Indian mountain divisions, acclimatized and unyielding, surge through the rocky passes of Gilgit-Baltistan. Skardu falls. Muzaffarabad, once a hotbed of separatist sentiment, is recaptured by relentless Indian advances. Pakistani battalions in Gilgit, depleted, isolated, and surrounded, surrender en masse. Commanders in Rawalpindi scramble for coordination, but by now the Pakistani military structure is splintering. Communications falter, contradictory orders echo down the chain, and mutinies begin to stir within the higher echelons. There are rumors of coups, shifting allegiances, and an unmoored regime. For the first time since partition in 1947, the entire geographical expanse of Kashmir stands integrated under the tricolor. The Indian flag rises over Skardu Air Base, a symbol of both victory and a seismic shift in the regional order. As days blur into the second month, India presses the assault from every angle. Unmanned aerial vehicles, shielded by air supremacy, unleash missiles onto Pakistan's general headquarters in Rawalpindi. Command infrastructure is obliterated in a matter of minutes. Lahore, now completely encircled, is spared the horror of urban devastation. Indian ground forces tighten their noose, compelling an organized Pakistani retreat into the dust and uncertainty of Sindh. Islamabad stands in shock, its government fleeing to Quetta as columns of burning wreckage mark the highways. Rawalpindi, a fortress through decades, falls at last, shattered by steel and surrendered to history. In the fevered days that follow, Pakistani commanders, exhausted and out of options, transmit their final messages. They are out of ammunition, out of fuel, and out of time. There is confusion, then silence. The resistance collapses. In Lahore Fort, under the stern gaze of their adversaries, the leaders of Pakistan's armed forces sign an unconditional surrender. Indian commanders secure every key military installation west of the Indus. Demilitarization is immediate and enforced. Pakistan's provinces tremble on the verge of civil chaos. Balochistan erupts in insurgency, the army splinters, and Karachi's streets fill with protest and despair. The territorial realities shift with the permanence of tectonic plates. Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan are merged into the Indian Union. Indian troops establish bases in Skardu and Mirpur with an air of permanence. The once mighty Pakistani military is shattered. Forced from Punjab, demilitarized, its morale broken, and its apparatus in disarray. India's victory is not only measured in territory regained, but in the shattering of a cycle, a dissolution of a bitter proxy war that had lasted for 75 years. By August, the subcontinent is irrevocably changed. A battered Pakistan faces economic collapse and political disintegration. India, though bloodied by the cost, stands as the sole victor and new regional hegemon. The international border shifts to what was once the line of control. Throughout the recaptured valleys and towns, Indian troops deliver not only security, but food and medical aid, seeking to douse the embers of hate with the first rays of a hard-won peace. The Indian Prime Minister's address is broadcast to a war-weary nation. We did not seek this war, but we ended it. For peace to thrive, terror must die. The message is not merely for India, but for the world and for the future. In the end, victory is marked not just in flags and frontiers. It is measured in the hope that, after decades of pain and violence, an entire region might finally awaken to the possibility of peace. For one nation, the sword that dealt 1,000 wounds has been shattered by resolve, strategy, and the will to end a cycle once and for all.